Greetings all and welcome to part 11 of the Elliott Wave 101 course. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, then please do so, and that way you don't miss any future updates as more material is published. If you found this video helpful, then please give it a like and don't forget to check out the other course videos. In this video, we're going to examine the guidelines of diagonals. So here are the guidelines for diagonals. Waves 2 and 4 usually retrace 66 to 81% of the preceding wave. Waves 1, 3 and 5 of a leading diagonal usually subdivide into zigzags, but sometimes appear to be impulses. Within an impulse, if wave 1 is a diagonal, wave 3 is likely to be extended. Within an impulse, wave 5 is unlikely to be a diagonal if wave 3 is not extended. In the contracting variety, wave 5 usually ends beyond the end of wave 3. Failure to do so is called a truncation. In the contracting variety, wave 5 usually ends at or slightly beyond a line that connects the ends of waves 1 and 3. End beyond that line is called a throwover. In the expanding variety, wave 5 usually ends slightly before reaching a line that connects the ends of waves 1 and 3. So let's go to the visuals. So the first guideline states that waves 2 and 4 usually retrace between 0.66 and 0.81 of the preceding wave. Now, I've taken the liberty of using the 61.8 and the 78.6 just to stick with those more traditional Fibonacci ratios. These are guidelines, they're not rules, so you can bend them somewhat. I just find that it's easier to use those more standard retracement areas than to start doing 66 and 81%. Now the next guideline, waves 1, 3 and 5 of a leading diagonal usually subdivide into zigzags, but sometimes appear to be impulses. So I think what this means, first off, you've got to remember that leading diagonals are quite rare. We don't come across them very often. But I think what the book is trying to tell us here is that usually you would expect zigzag formation in all the waves. But they did note that we have seen impulses in the actionary waves being 1, 3 and 5. So I think the impulses in those waves are probably less likely, though not impossible. You would expect mainly zigzags, but once again, this entire thing is about leading diagonals, which are not very common. However, they are in the book, so they do need to be covered. The next guideline states that within an impulse, if wave 1 is a diagonal, wave 3 is likely to be extended. So when we talk about an extended wave 3, if we see this setup where we've got a leading diagonal in wave 1 and a sharp zigzag that retraces quite deeply into wave 2, we would expect, though it's not a prerequisite, but we would expect extension in wave 3. So that would mean for me that at least we're going to reach 161.8% of wave 1 and probably go further. However, that would be my minimum base case if I was analysing a setup that appeared with a leading diagonal in the wave 1 position. The next guideline is within an impulse, wave 5 is unlikely to be a diagonal if wave 3 is not extended. So that means that we've got a bit of a stock standard wave 3 that's not really that much longer than wave 1. It's a lot less likely that we're going to get an ending diagonal in the 5th wave. Once again, a lot of these guidelines will probably apply very, very little in terms of actual practical application, but we need to be aware of them if they're written in the book. So the next few guidelines here, in the contracting variety, wave 5 usually ends beyond the end of wave 3. Failure to do so is called a truncation, and that's illustrated in the bottom left. In the contracting variety, wave 5 usually ends at or slightly beyond a line that connects the ends of ends of waves 1 and 3. Ending beyond that line is called a throwover. So that's the bottom right here, where you can see that wave 5 has gone beyond the end of the trend channel, and that's fine as long as wave 5 remains shorter than wave 3, because obviously we're dealing with a contracting diagonal. And you can see there in the top middle, that's just what a standard diagonal would look like. And the next guideline, in the expanding variety, which once again is reasonably rare, wave 5 usually ends slightly before reaching a line that connects the ends of waves 1 and 3. Once again, something you're not going to have to deal with very often, but need to be aware of. So stay tuned for the next video, where we will look at guidelines around zigzags and flats. Thanks for watching.